All right. So we're looking at the graphical statistics now. So, leading cause of death in the United States, we have percentages. If you have percentages like that, the best graph to make is either a bar chart or a circle graph. Okay? I would say circle graph when you have percentages, but bar graphs also work to make a graph. A frequency table. How many times things occur in uh, in certain ranges. So, 3 times during his career, he only hit from 0 to 9 home runs. 2 times he hit between 20 and 29 home runs. 5 times he hit between 30 and 39 home runs, and so on. Okay? Out of his 16 years of playing baseball. So, you could put a histogram, which is like a bar chart. Okay? Um, but unlike a bar chart, both axes of the histogram have numerical scales. So there's numbers on the bottom and numbers up the side. A bar chart is basically has words on the bottom saying what the bar represents. Okay? So that's the difference between a histogram and a bar chart. Okay? And then you could graph a histogram or a time plot on your graphing calculator. We'll do that if necessary. All right. So here we go. This first one's a fun one because it's how well can you read this and what does the mean? And this is a quiz or quiz question, so you do need to know how to do this one. The percent of people that plan to skip the game is those that won't watch 287 divided by those the total of number of people 996. You divide that out and it's 28 point some odd percent. The percent of people who were men that planned to skip the game. So the men who skipped the game out of the total number of people, 128 out of 996. Now, if we phrase it a little different, the percent of men who plan to skip the game, okay? So the percent of men, because before this was a percent of people, people is 996. Now, this next one is a percent of men who plan to skip the game. Well, the men, there's 483 men surveyed, and that was a 128 out of 43. The percent of people who plan to skip the game who are men. So people out of are in the totals of the people are over here. So the men out of all the people who plan to skip the game, which ones were just men? So we're just looking here was 128 out of 287. Okay? So it depends how it's asked which ones you use. Okay? So you got to be careful there. Frequency table. So as you do this, construct a frequency table of the life expectancy of the males given the data below. So 60.1, 60.2 is the second box down. So that goes in the second box down. This one goes in the first box. This one goes in the second box. 66.1 goes in the third box. 70.8 goes in the fourth box. The third box. The fourth box. And the fifth box. So there's one nation there. Here there's 2 twos, 2 threes, 2 fours, and 1 5. Okay? So that's how you fill out a frequency table. Okay? Here's a histogram. The heights of players. Now, what you can do is you can put this data in your graphing calculator and have it make a histogram for you under stat plot. Okay? But you wouldn't have to do that. The following heights are basketball players for 4 teams in a recent season. Use classes of width 2 starting at 64.5. So you start at 64.5 and you go to 64. 66.4. Then you go 66.5 to 68.4. And then you go 68.5 to 70.4. Then 70.5 to 72.4. Then 72.5 to 74.4. It goes all the way up to 79, so you just keep going. So 74.5 to 76.4, and then 76.5 to 78.4, then 78.4 to 80.4, 78.5. All right. And then you start going through, and what I would do is I would cross them out as I get to them. So a 66 goes here. So you got one. There's no other 66. Oh, there's a 65. There's two. And you just keep going through these charts and marking off as you hit them how many there are. And use tally marks to see how many there are. That's 5, 6, 7. So you want one with a 7 as the first one. So this one's out already, and this one's out already. So then you keep going until you figure out how many there are. Okay? So some of these take some time. Again, this one, you look at the home runs, 40, 51, 39. So you have to start at 40. 40 is keep. So these two are out right away because you start with 40. And then you go up to 51. And then back down to 39. And then up to 45 and 53. And then back down and so on. And so you end up at 7 and 6, which only makes sense to have this one. So you just have to look at the charts, look at the features, and see which ones match up. Okay? And on the last one, what a time plot is best for a line graph. Time goes with line. Okay? So I'll put the second one out there. You can play with that. We'll do one more and a review on Thursday, and then we'll take a quiz on Friday. And then we have just one more chapter to cover before semester final happens.